Hello, Assalamualaikum, and welcome to the Stani YouTube channel. It's another show, this time not reflecting on a Pakistan game. Obviously, we haven't played for a little while now since the England tour, but a show with a slight difference, not just in terms of who's hosting. So it's me, Dr. Akbar Choudhry. I've been on a few shows. Good to see, hopefully, a few viewers tuning in this evening. It's a show with a difference for another reason as well. We're starting our 12th Man series. Essentially, what that means is we're going to get to know other members of the Stani Army, those that have come to the games in the past, those that are maybe looking to join or just have an interest in Pakistan cricket. And we want to get to know some of our members in a bit more detail. We're going to start today in a moment or so with Imy, who's one of the members that I'm sure a lot of the viewers are well aware of and have gotten to know well over the years. But in the coming weeks, we're going to get to know members that perhaps you haven't come across or you haven't met. We're going to explore what got them into cricket, their early memories of the game, what got them specifically into Pakistan cricket, and how they've managed to follow the team over the years. We know Pakistan fans are spread all over the world. There are those of us in England who have to rely on streams or Sky Sports, those in other areas of the world who maybe have to rely on other means to try and keep up with the game. So we're going to try and find out a bit more about Pakistan fans from around the world. And if you want to get involved, please do get in touch. So there is a ticker along the bottom of the screen. Feel free to tweet anyone at the Stani Army, myself or Imy. And if you want to get in touch and you want to appear on the show to talk about how you got into Pakistan cricket and how you follow the team, please do so. It'd be lovely to hear from as many people as possible. So we are going to start with Imy, who'll be appearing hopefully by magic in just a moment. And here he is. And we're going to get to find out a little bit more about yourself. Imy, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How you doing?
Yes, all good here. Thank you very much. Do you want to start just by telling us how you got into cricket, specifically Pakistan cricket?
Literally had no choice. I was born in 1982, 27th of August. That was the middle of the Headingley Test match. So there's a test match going on. I was born. My dad was a massive Imran Khan fan, and then literally what he actually decided was, as soon as he found out there was a boy, he gave my mum no option, and he said, "That's my Imran." So that's where it started from. And I think the following day, the Test series finished. Pakistan actually lost the Test series, but Imran Khan was man of the match and man of the series, and that was it really. So I had no option from a young age. I mean, it was just cricket.
And obviously then, as you say, so born in 82, that's during the Pakistan series. What are maybe some of your early memories of kind of watching the team? I'm thinking there was a tour. I know there was an England tour to Pakistan in 87. I don't know if that would have been shown on English TV. In fact, maybe that's something we'll talk about in terms of how difficult it can be to follow the games when you're in England. But what's your early memories of watching the team?
My earliest memories away from the team were like literally playing in the garden.
Yeah.
So I was just always trying to bowl, bat, whatever it was. Funny enough, my earliest cricket memory, like actually what I remember, it comes through the 87 World Cup.
Right.
But I know I watched cricket before that, but it's just like it's like a blurred thing. I can't actually remember a specific game. So yeah, the 87 World Cup was the first one, which I was only 5. And then going after that, I mean, I watched loads of cricket after that. And again, it's like a blur where I don't actually remember any specific sort of like I could say, oh, there was Pakistan versus India here and here. I can't remember any of that. But the next one that I actually like fully remember, it was the 1991/92 Sharjah Cup.
Okay.
It was a tri-series between Pakistan, India, and the West Indies. Pakistan's led by Imran Khan. India, I think it was Azharuddin, if I remember right. And Richie Richardson was the West Indies. I mean, in the sun hat.
Yeah.
Hitting hundreds for fun. So that was the I would say like the one that I can remember fully, and after that it's just continuous.
And in terms of obviously the early years, then kind of first hero, I'm assuming he might have been Imran, someone, but you tell me.
It was Imran. There was no doubt that I was an Imran Khan fan. Though I saw Imran at a point where you could say he was on the downward spiral. So going into like my real hero when I was like fully sort of like watching cricket and really understanding the game, not just as my dad was making me sit there and watch it, more or less when I wanted to watch cricket. Waka Yunis was my hero. Not a lot of people know that, but yeah, I grew up absolutely idolizing Vakar. I used to do the permed hair. I would have that run up from so long. By the time I'll get halfway, I'll be knackered. But Vakar was my hero.
Okay. And then obviously then you move on to kind of, as you say, getting on a little bit older. Were you aware, if you kind of think of school and that kind of time, growing up in England, were you aware that maybe most other people probably didn't support Pakistan? Most people were England fans. And how did that kind of sit with you?
I think it was different with us because I'm brought up in East London and we're predominantly a multicultural area. A lot of South Asians are here, so I think we were struggling to find an England fan here. It was more like, you're a Pakistan fan, and there's loads of Pakistan fans. There's loads of Indian fans. There's very few Sri Lankan fans at the time, and Bangladesh never actually. I think Sri Lankans sort of came, towards East London a little bit later. So yeah, it was more Pakistan in India. One thing I would add to that is great times. I wish them sort of times could come back and our kids could actually see how you can actually celebrate cricket the way we did. Pakistan India matches always happening. You absolutely want to win that game. But regardless of the result, win, lose, whatever it was, after the game, what you did was you picked up your own bat and your ball, you went out in the road or into the park and you had your own game. There was absolutely no hard feelings. I think this is one of the downsides of social media and mainstream media in modern times.
Yeah. So you played as well then?
Yeah, I did. Not a lot, but I did. Mostly in the park, in the garden, with friends, etc. Played for the school. I played for the borough as well at one point, but that was very, very like I was never going to make anything big out of it. It was I was more or less a fan always. I was just someone who analysed the game, watched the game, and I could have debates about the game, for hours, even as a child. I remember we used to sit in. My form tutor was actually Mr. Lockett. I can remember. He's a science teacher, and in year 7, wonderful guy, and he was actually in cricket. And my science lessons used to be spent with Mr. Lockett sitting right next to me, and we should have hours of debates of cricket. It's an absolutely wonderful time. Wonderful time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of fans, regardless of who you support, a lot of fans will who are still into the game now, into their 30s and what have you, will remember, obviously, growing up, they'll remember the debates that they have, they remember kind of the first few memories when it comes to the game. And a lot of that is tied in with school and friends and things like that. I'm assuming that for you, first big memory might be 92 World Cup?
Yeah, definitely.
Series?
Yeah, definitely. So we had that series. And funny enough, with that series, it was like it happened, and it. You probably testify to this, but cricket never used to be live back then, so very little anyhow. Unless you're playing England away, you hardly got to see cricket live, and it was one of them where we used to either wait for a postal. So a VHS tape used to come from Pakistan, and you watch it, or you listen to it on the radio. And so we listened to this on the radio. So I remember that quite well. But then, just before the World Cup, they actually showed it on Sky Sports. As a highlight series. So I remember watching that, and then straight after that you had the World Cup. So the World Cup was my first big memory where I can literally remember every game as it happened. Middle of the night, I used to wake up and watch it, and I had a perfect excuse. My grandma, may Allah give her peace above us. She had traveled down from Pakistan for the first time, and she was living with us, and she had this Pakistani timing about her. Yeah. She would wake up middle of the night to eat, and she'll feel hungry. So she had this thing where I had told her to wake me up. She'll wake me up every night, and then if I'll go down with her, if Dad said anything, well, she took me down. I always had an excuse so I can watch the games. Wonderful times. Only 10 years old, but I mean, a wonderful time.
Yeah, there was that kind of golden period, wasn't there, where you had the '92 World Cup, and then Pakistan came here straight afterwards. And I think for any kind of child back then, or anyone in that kind of generation, from the age of about 6 to the age of about 12, if you're getting into Pakistan cricket around that time and you're living in this country, it just felt like, and so I'm only a teeny bit younger than you, but it must have just felt like Pakistan was just this amazing team. They always win World Cups, and then they always just come to England and win. And obviously, as we know in the future, that maybe isn't always the case. But do you think that? I think I'm quite lucky to watch those. My first few years in cricket were literally just watching Pakistan win all the time over here. Do you think that then had an impact on how much? Obviously, you were already into cricket, but the fact that Pakistan was so successful back then, they had this flamboyant team, this bright green kit. They seem to be winning all the time. Do you think that must have had an impact?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go back to my father first of all. When he arrived in this country back in late 60s or mid 60s, he had nowhere. Basically, wherever he went, he felt like he was out an outsider. He felt he was in an alien place. He didn't know the country, didn't know the culture, he didn't know the language. I mean, he couldn't speak a word of English when he come here. He had no money. And it was just one day he was sitting there and they used to rent the TV back then, as he tells us. And so they've rented the TV and they've switched it on, and there was this game going on. And they're like, what is this? And he didn't know what cricket was. Wow. And he sat there and he was like, what is this? And he saw Pakistan. It was Pakistan versus England. And he was like, oh, these are my people. So something connected him saying, these are my people. And he actually sat there watching it, and just watching that, whatever series that was, because he can't remember what year it was at the moment. And it was just one of them where that's where the connection come from him, and he learned cricket watching that series. And it wasn't until he said a few years later where he had learned the more the LBW law and everything. He just thought if it hits a pad, that's it, it's out, sort of thing. So, but yeah, he got into the game with watching Pakistan play on TV, and it felt like he saw something that he could relate to, his country, his people. And as you just said, I mean, we grew up watching Pakistan play in England, and we always seem to get a really good result here.
Well, you're right.
That definitely plays a thing, because you look at it where it's 92, 96, 99.
Well, this is the thing. I can see a comment come in talking about Pakistan always used to win. Kind of what university you guys living in, and it's, I guess it's about what you see. So living in this country, kind of sometimes your access to some of the Pakistan home games is really limited. We can come on to that, but exactly as you say, 92 World Cup winners, 92 won a tour here, 96 won a Test series here, and 99 got to a World Cup final here. So it seems like whenever Pakistan were playing in our backyard, and we were able to see it the most with the most analysis and the most in-depth coverage, which to be honest you probably get with Sky Sports. It just seemed like we'd always win. Whereas, the series defeat, we lost. I was looking up, we lost to Zimbabwe at home in the 90s. We lost to South Africa. And these are things that if you're living in this country, maybe not in Pakistan, but if you're living in this country, some of those things just went under the radar. So I think your your kind of your thoughts on the team are very much shaped by what you've seen, and obviously what you saw and what I saw in the 90s predominantly was Pakistan doing really well over here. Did you manage to get to any of those games on that 92 tour?
I did, yeah. My first game was the 92 Test match. We went to, I think it was day 4, if I remember right, and Pakistan actually won with a guy on the team actually batting, not bowling. So that was my first game. The 92 World Cup, for example. In fact, the 92 semi-final and the final, I've got a couple of stories that are absolutely wonderful. So what we used to do was, as you probably know, a lot of people do, Sky at that time was a luxury, and it wasn't like everyone had it. So we got Sky put in, in 1991, just before the World Cup, because there was no way my dad was missing it. And so we've got this, and no one else really had it in the family. I think 1 or 2 other families had it. I know my papa's sons had it. But apart from that, no one else. They're the ones who got me into football and United from a very young age. So 92 semi, the house is packed, and we never used to have like the 3 lounge. It was just a small room. So Dad's like, we can't do this. So what he's done, he's asked someone else here to bring their TV along. They've done a TV. They've connected these wires, got in through the windows and everything. We had a little box room on the side. They've put that TV on the other side. They connected Sky onto it somehow. So they made it a multi-room. And literally we had about 60 people inside the house watching the semi-final. But at that point where we lost the wicket and Inzi came out to bat, the 60 people turned into 2.
Oh, no.
Me and my dad.
Yeah.
It was just me and my dad. No one else was watching the game. Everyone gave up and walked off. They said, we've lost this. And my dad sat there, and I remember his words to this day. And he said to me, until Javed is there, we're winning that game.
Yeah.
That's the trust he had in Javed Miadad. He said, until Javed is there, we're winning this game. It was Inzi's great innings, but I mean, Javed went completely under the radar. How he let them play around him. But that was his words. So that was that. And funny enough, about 20 of them sort of turned back up here to watch the last 2 to 3 overs, because when they found out what's going on, they sort of rushed back. And in the final, we had the 2 rooms going as well. Rose and somehow, I don't know how, but I had a really bad stomachache that morning, so I didn't go school. And but 92, I went to my first game in 92.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny, just as you mentioned on that story about, being in touch with the score and people leaving. Back then, if you left the game on TV, it's not like you could then just watch it on your phone whilst you're walking home and then turn around. I mean, you'll be well aware, and anyone watching under the age of about 20, ask your parents what CFAX was. And sometimes you'd have to check the score on CFAX, page 340 on BBC. I'm sure anyone of my generation is well aware of that. So it wasn't even so easy. Once you left the game and you'd got a certain distance, it's not like you can just kind of turn around really quickly either and see that Inzi's doing it and getting us home.
No, they all started phoning the house phone and saying, "What's the score?"
Exactly. Yeah.
And then my dad's like, "Well, this is what's happening," and like some of them still were like, "I'm not going to turn back," and some of them were like, "I'm only 5 minutes away. I'm going to turn back." And it's incredible. It was an incredible feeling.
So was that first game the Lord's game? Was that the one where Imy Asghar won it? We won by about 2 wickets at the end? Yes.
So we were chasing, I can't remember now, 120 odd.
Yeah.
And we were down and out. We'd lost 8 wickets for 70 odd or whatever it was. And then Akbar Choudhry won it. So one of my first memories, that was my first game at a stadium, running onto the pitch, etc. Incredible feeling just to see Akbar Choudhry win you a game. I'll probably watch the most unique way of them winning a game, because I don't think that's ever happened again, like them win it with the bat.
So what was it like being, obviously you're a young kid there, you're at Lord's, kind of home of cricket. How did you find the difference between watching it on TV, where you've got, okay, maybe not as many as now, but you had kind of cameras all over the place and score coming up and all that kind of stuff? How did you find it there, and how was the experience as a Pakistan fan? I'm trying to think how outnumbered we would have been in that test match. I still think there would have been a lot more England fans than Pakistan fans there.
Yeah, definitely. We had more of the Jungly fans, certainly, than what the England contingent had. But yeah, we were completely outnumbered. But yeah, it's a completely different feeling. You know, watching it on TV is one thing, and then going to your first game and then watching that. And then, funny enough, my second game
Oh,
was at Crystal Palace. We watched Pakistan versus India.
Yeah.
Imran Khan actually played in that. It was a charity game. And Imran Khan was playing, and Vaseem was bowling from about 2 yards out. You know, he was like literally like 2 yard run up and he just bowling. But again, another memorable occasion because I got to see Imran Khan play live, even if it was completely different. But I got to see him play live. I met him a few times after that. But just to see him like just bowl live or bat live was something else, because it's like, yeah, that would have been the only chance.
Yeah. So I mean, some people, when they go to a game, they do find that it's quite difficult. So it's difficult to sometimes follow the ball with your eyes, especially if you're a young kid. Sometimes it's not always obvious kind of what the score is, but it sounds like you really kind of caught the bug of going to games. So I'm presuming when we then came in '96 for another victorious tour, I think that was 2-0, that one. Was it just kind of, that's it, we're going, no doubt about it, we need to be there, and kind of, were you at those games as well in '96?
Yeah, I think at '96 I only went to the Oval game, and I saw Anwar get 100. We went for 2 days, so we saw him get we saw him bat and get towards 100, and then I remember going, I think that was a Friday, and I remember going on the Saturday after that, and it literally, we lost Anwar, we lost another wicket, and I think there was only about half an hour playing the whole day because it rained. So we didn't get much cricket that day. But so that was, again, a test match. So until '96, I'd still not seen an ODI. Yeah, it was just 2 test matches I'd gone to see live.
And did that change in '99 then? Obviously, World Cup, Pakistan coming here. By that point, you're what, 17, 18? That's prime time to be going and watching cricket matches, isn't it?
Yeah, I think in '96 and '98 maybe, I got to see my first ever ODIs,
right?
But at a different level. Right. They were under 15 World Cups.
Okay.
The first one was under 15 World Cup final versus India at Lord's. Funny enough, these games were like 55 overs.
Yeah.
And India actually won the final. The only Indian player that I think went on to play for India, well, two went on to play. One was Ratinder Singh Sodhi, who was their captain.
Yeah.
And got man of the match in that game. But I think he only played a few games. And Mohammed Kaif.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He was playing. And funny enough, our team in that game, and my father took us, he took loads of us little kids to this game. And loads of us just going there with him, or teenagers, shall we say, not kids. But we had Tawfiq Umar. Oh, yeah. We had Hassan Raza, Faisal Iqbal, Shoaib Malik, Kamran Akmal, Yasser Arafat, and Imran Qadir, who was the oldest son of Abdul Qadir. Carbon copy. Everyone thought he was going to turn into a hero, a superstar, but I think he had I remember I actually interviewed, because some people don't know, I actually did this for a while. I used to have our website, and I interviewed Usman Qadir, and I actually asked him about his brother, and he said he actually had an allergy with leather. So him gripping a cricket ball eventually caught up with him, where his hands would just swell up. So he had to quit the game. But he was a carbon copy of his father and a very, very good leg spinner.
Right. Okay. So then what about 99 then? Did you manage to get to, because that was obviously, that for again, for a lot of fans, that would be one of their great memories of Pakistan in the 90s. We had a properly flamboyant team that kind of came over as well. Vadim, Abdul Razak, Inzamam, Moin Khan was brilliant in that tournament. Memories of that and going to those games?
I think I went to 3 games in total. So the Zimbabwe game. I went to the Zimbabwe game. Suckling got the hat trick. I went to no, it wasn't New Zealand. There was one other I went to, and the semi-final against New Zealand.
Wow, I went underrated game, that one, actually. It's not like Pakistan to win semi-finals that easily. We played really well that day.
We did, yeah. I actually missed the first 15 overs.
Right.
We missed the first 15 overs because we drove up to Manchester. We're in Manchester now. We haven't got tickets. We're phoning my cousin. He's not answering his phone. And so, I mean, this was a time when a lot of us didn't have mobile phone. I didn't have a mobile phone then. And I was 18 and didn't have a mobile phone. So it's one of them. And so one of my cousins ringing me, other cousin, saying, where are you? Where are you? But he's not answering. He eventually answered, and we were quite early. And he said, hello. And we were like, oh my God. We're like, where are you? Sleeping. And then we realized that we're going to be really late for the game. He got there pretty quick, but we were at the stadium about 2.5 hours early. And then he's obviously got out of bed and tried to make it to Manchester. And we missed the first 15 overs, which is pretty decent compared to like what it could have been. So yeah, we missed the first 15, but perfect seats. We were right behind the bowler's arm. So first of all, Wasim Akram was bowling from behind where we were, and then we were right behind Shoaib Akhtar's bowling arm. We got got a perfect view of that Yorker.
That famous Yorker. Yeah,
we were right behind the bowler's arm. You can literally say we were right next to sight screen. So it was like the most perfect view to see the Yorkers, Fleming and Astle, 2 of them.
Yes. So just finishing off on the 90s quickly then. How did you find being a fan? It was interesting just to compare other people. How did you find being a fan, following Pakistan from afar, not being able to watch every game, unless you had kind of the right combination of whatever ridiculous combination of channels you needed back then to watch all our home games? How did you find it kind of not maybe being able to watch every game? What were your ways of kind of catching up and things like that?
It was hard. Because if you missed a game, say if I was at school, or at college later, and the game was live, unless they showed a highlight package, which was very, very unlikely, there was no way of catching up. So what we used to always do is tape every game. Yeah. And then you literally sit through hours and hours of a game watching it. And in most cases, the games weren't live. Yeah. So, we used to just listen to it on the radio. So you just sort of grew up like imagining Sadan when playing a cover drive. It's like he played a cover drive, and you just sort of imagine how good it might have been. And it was literally just that. But kids of today just will not understand how hard it was. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even nowadays there's a stream for pretty much everything. If it's not on, if it's not live on one of the channels, so it's so much more accessible these days, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we used to you hear it on the radio, sort of imagine it, and that was really about it. One of my memories on imagining things was, and I've still not seen it ever. Shazid at West Indies. Getting 2 wickets, Shahid Nazir.
Oh yeah.
Was it Shahid Nazir? No, Shazad Nazir.
Shahid Nazir is the left arm bowler. Go on.
No, I think this was Shazad Nazir, his younger brother. So this was back in the 90s, and he's bowling. So we're listening to this on the long wave radio from the West Indies, and he got 2 in 2, and he wrapped the pad again on the hat-trick ball. Right, and the umpire gave it not out. Again, I've never seen this. hearing it on the radio, and Michael Holding turning around and saying, "In my book, when I write my autobiography, he's got a hat trick." And you're like, this. I sort of remember the radio. I've never seen the bowling. I've never seen it. It's a unique way, but different times they were different times. But you there was always a way. I mean, kids today they complain of their streams like one ball behind. I mean, I wish I could watch a game one ball behind back then.
Oh, absolutely.
The radio. And the radios were funny as well. Like you sort of move it from, say, here to there, and you lose coverage. It had to just be the perfect place, and we wanted it to move. So we got a wicket. We could not celebrate it because we lose coverage. So it's different times. But what can you do?
So let's go from obviously teenager following Pakistan. How does it go from where you were to kind of Stani Army, Welcome Slum, Shaz, to kind of Stani Army? And kind of this organised kind of fan group that obviously that you now kind of find yourself in and helping to organise. How did that come about?
That was a few years later. So you could actually from the 99 go one decade ahead. Just before I go into that, basically 99, 09. Wonderful time as well. I actually saw the final. Didn't have a ticket. Went to sleep at night saying I haven't got a ticket. I'm not going to go to the game. Woke up in the morning and we had my own shop back then. And I said to my dad, I want to go to the game. And he said, you haven't got a ticket? And I said, I'm going to chance it. So he said, go. Your brother run the shop. It's fine. So I've gone to this game and didn't have a ticket. Stood there for hours looking for tickets. We were there very early. And then we saw... a Sikh gentleman, quite an older guy, asked him, and he said £300 for 3 tickets.
Okay, yeah.
So it's £100 a ticket, which is well cheaper than what anyone else was giving him. And so I paid him £300 for the tickets, and we went in and watched the game. And I remember on the way out, I got a banner written. So I was walking around this banner saying, "Just been to the game." I mean, I had it on the tube all the way back. Bought my ticket off an Indian. So I just walking around. So that's one. But Stani Army, going on to Stani Army, that was 2010. And I actually went to, on my birthday, the 27th of August, I went to see the Lord's Test. So I was watching it at Lord's, and a couple of no balls did happen that day, which were sorry.
No, go on, carry on. Yeah, the most famous one ever, probably.
Yeah. So these no balls have happened, and obviously we've taken no notice of them. I didn't even remember them. Following day, evening, it was my sister's birthday, so her birthday's one day after us. So we've just finished a little party at home, and I just sat down, and I got a text, and someone said to me that, "Have you seen the? Have you seen social media? Everything's kicked off." And I went, "On what?" And they said, "Just check it." So I've opened my social media. It was Twitter at the time. I had about 50 followers back then, and I was following about 50 people as well. So I've actually realised that something's kicked off. I've looked at News of the World website, and I saw what actually happened. And initially, as we all were at the time, I was in denial. I was like, it's not possible. It's just them stitching us up again. All these years later, it's happened before, it's happening again. All the memories of 92, 06, etc. were just coming straight back at me and saying, it's just another one of them. So I was in denial at the time anyhow. But going on to the ODIs, I went to the overall ODI in an army top, because I was completely in denial still. I was like, proven innocent until proven guilty. I'm not going to accept it. So I've gone there. I've had a few people, you cheats. I ignored it. But the players will get the same. And on the way back...
I was at that game. It was a bit of a both those London games that weekend had a bit of a nasty atmosphere to them. There was Lords, Oval, and then Lords, I think, on the Friday and Monday. And you're right, it wasn't a very nice atmosphere at all.
I sort of chickened out of the Lords one. I had a ticket, and I felt so uncomfortable I didn't go. And it was so on the way back. Can't remember what tube station it was. Was it Waterloo or London Bridge? London Bridge. That's where you change from coming backwards towards East London. So for the Jubilee line, and I had some English fans, use cheats, using the P word, etc. Noble, etc. And all your fans are the same. And at that point, something hit me, and I said, we need to change the perception. We need to do something about it. But I didn't know what, how, nothing was. But I knew that we needed to change this perception. I had absolutely no clue. And I was just thinking, something came in my head. And I said, we got to do something. And I thought, at most, what we can do is write to the Pakistan Cricket Board and say to them that, we're not happy with the conduct, which I actually did. And obviously never got a reply.
I think so.
And that was that. And later that year, I actually met the Brace for the first time. And it was just an off chance meeting online. And he was in a cricket group. I was in a cricket group on Facebook. Someone added me. He was already on there. So it's a mutual friend. So, he used to comment on things. I used to comment on things. And we just found out that we live literally a mile away from each other. So we started talking. And it was just one day, I said to him that I remember going to this game and this is what happened. I wanted to change the perception, but the Pakistan Cricket Board doesn't listen. This was around the spot fixing again because the trials was happening and everything else by then. And he said, oh, yeah, that's fine. He goes, but you know what? I've actually got my own cricket group called the Stani Army. And we do some blogging on there and everything. Maybe we could take that forward and try to put a positive image. And I was like, okay. So we started off there at that point, but without actually starting off because for years, and I'm talking about 3 or 4 years, there was no support. Everywhere you sort of try to mention that we're trying to build something, people just laugh at you or they'll just ignore you. They think, it's not going to work. And we just carry on going. 2013, Edgbaston, I think the South Africa game, the first time where we had a whole stand at Eric Holly's just stand up, and we didn't start it off. Someone towards our right, a couple of blocks away, started it off. No idea who this legend is, but someone started it off, and it sort of filtered through. And as we know, it went around the whole ground, and all we could hear was "Stani Army, Stani Army," and we're like, and that was the point where me and the Tabriz looked at each other and said, "You know what? It started to move." We didn't think we made it, but it was like, yes, there's some sort of movement where people have started to recognize that, we're one. As a fan, we're one. We're not individuals. We need to be seen under the same umbrella all the time. So, and then we just carried on moving from there.
And what difficulties have you had in terms of growing the group? And obviously, look, if you compare, we're not here to compare, but obviously you look at Barmy Army, you look at the Bharat Army, and you look at the Stani Army. Clearly, we've got work to do just in terms of numbers and things like that. So what have been the obstacles that have maybe prevented us from becoming as big as we want to be? There's plenty of Pakistan fans at some of these games. You saw that in the World Cup last year. But it doesn't feel like the Stani Army's quite got the presence we want just yet.
Mm-hmm. And inshallah, that's changing.
Yeah,
we got big news coming up very, very soon. But yeah, one of the biggest issues is unity. It hurts me to say it, but Pakistanis in general have no unity. You see someone doing something, and there's always going to be like, why did you do it this way? Or B, why are you doing it? So that's one. And the other one is when someone sees something happening, it's like, I want it to do. I want to have my own piece of cake, and we've had too much of that. So it's got to a point now where we've got 5-6 people running it now, and we aim to listen to the 5-6. But everyone's opinions are welcome. There's people out there who would tell me things, and the ideas are wonderful, and we'll go and implement them. But it's taken time for us to sort things out. Reason being is we're working class people. I've got my day-to-day job. I work 70 hours a week. I might not look like it because I'm always on Twitter, but I actually work 70 hours a week. So whenever I get maybe 5 minutes here or there, I might tweet, and that's it. I'm gone. Again, it looks like I'm scrolling through my Twitter feed. That's why I don't really like people's tweets that much. It's because I hardly ever read through my timeline. I don't have the time for it. So that is one thing. We're open to suggestions. We're always going to be open to suggestions. Things are changing, and we want them to change not for us. I'm 40. Well, I'm 38. But you get the point. I'm going to that point where in my life where I don't need to change things for myself. I've got enough links now within the cricket side that there could be a World Cup final anywhere in the world, and I'd probably get in there because I have to just make a couple of phone calls, and from somewhere I will locate a ticket. I don't need to make it change for myself, but I need to make it change for some of the Pakistan cricket fans right now, and B, most importantly, the future generations. They need to be able to be under one umbrella, get to games without the fear of getting abused, and without having the hassle of saying, I can't find tickets. We saw it in the World Cup. Tickets were very hard to get, and that's now where we're trying to make progression.
But is that something as a fan base we could be, not just obviously you as, in the Stani Army or myself, but just generally fans as individuals as well? Do you think we need to be a bit quicker on the uptake when it comes to knowing when tickets go on sale, how to get tickets? Yeah, the prices in England, the prices are ridiculous, and regardless of what you do, it's not easy to pay for and go and watch a 3-test series of Pakistan every day. But do you think we need to be a little bit quicker, just knowing when the tickets are going to be on sale, and is that something that maybe the Indian fans may be a little bit better at doing, or they just maybe a little bit more enabled to do it financially?
A bit of both. I think many of us know when our tickets are coming up, and we still don't get them. The World Cup was an example.
Yeah.
And in many cases, our people are very, as they say, relaxed. The Punjabi were sust. We're just relaxed off. Don't worry, I just need a kal mil jange. That's it.
Yeah.
And carry on with it. Yeah, it's like, don't worry about it. So that's one thing. We need to make that. We need to get off that. But then this is where we're trying to take Stani Army. If we can bring tickets to the table, we know we can get people to sit in one place. All Pakistan fans, not all of us, but we can have batches of Pakistan cricket fans sit together, and it makes a better atmosphere. B, people and genuine fans will get tickets. It's an ongoing process at the moment. We've actually had movement. I'm not going to say, I can't say it publicly on what. We've had movement. And we want to take this movement forward. The one thing I would ask everyone is we're going to need their support when, as and when. And yes, suggestions will be most definitely welcome. But we're going to need people's support, whether that is going to be going up, and we might be changing our strategy from we're just a fan base at the moment, but we might have to go into a point where we're going to have to start taking memberships and everything else in as well. etc., to get this going. I've got no need for money. Money is no issue to me. I'm not saying I'm super rich. You know, I got a normal day-to-day wage, yeah, coming through. I've got a family to feed. End of the month, I'm thinking about how to feed my family. But when I say I've got no need for money, in the sense that cricket doesn't need to feed me.
Yeah.
But I can't keep feeding my cricket side and getting people to join. So that's something that will be in the pipeline, but we'll discuss that as and when. You know, we're looking at quite a few different avenues, and hopefully very soon we'll have some things going.
So in terms of the perception, obviously you said you know, there's a really nice comment there, and yeah, you're absolutely right. We are behind you.
Yes.
And we want to
Thank you, Shaz.
as big as possible. If you think of the perception before Stani Army, you were saying about that 2010 game and some of the abuse that was kind of coming your way. How have perceptions changed then? We're now we're 10 years on. Do you think perceptions have changed because of the fact that, you know, we've got the Stani Army now, and you know, is it different experience now when you go to games?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 2019. I doubt if there was a better fan base than what we had at games. The noise we created, the atmospheres.
Edgbaston against New Zealand is the loudest cricket I've ever been at in my life, and the most
incredible, wasn't it? Incredible.
I
actually had tickets. Funny enough, I had tickets away from the rest of the boys. So there was me, and I had one other ticket, which went to Umar's brother, cousin, and we were sitting right next to the players. So we were right next to the Pakistan cricket team.
Yeah.
And twice we tried to get the atmosphere going in that little part right at the start of the game. It didn't work. And he goes to me, "This is dead." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm going to try if I can get in with the other boys." I go, "Let's go." So he's gone the other way. Umar on the other side of the ground. They've gone that way. I've gone this way. I found Qamar and I said, "Yar, Hulk." He goes, "Yeah." I go, "There's no atmosphere where I was." The Pakistan cricket team's there. They're wonderful VIP leather seats, but there's no atmosphere there, yeah? The only people there that were sitting there were like the older lot because they can afford their tickets.
Or Birmingham, Warwickshire County. I mean, that's the thing. So I was in a very similar situation to you at that game. So the atmosphere was amazing, but I had a bunch of Warwickshire members near me. And it's not the same as, like you say, when you're in amongst kind of the Pakistan fans. And that
Qamar goes in a seat right next to me that's still available. No one's coming taking it. Just come. We'll see what happens. So I've sat next to him. Someone come trying to sit on that seat. And I went, "There's another seat right there. Is it all right?" He goes, yeah, it's fine. But when you're in that costume and everything, fans are more than happy, to, you know, say, "You know what, that's fine. Just, you know, get it going." And I've not seen anything like Edgbaston. No. The noise created. I'm a Londoner, right? And Umar's probably going to have this on me for the rest of his life if he's listening. He will be listening. But Birmingham that day, wow, it was loud. Headingley was very close to it.
Oh, yeah, the game, yeah.
Against Afghanistan. But Edgbaston, every run that was scored, every boundary, every wicket, you name it, from start to finish, incredible atmosphere.
Yeah, no, I've been to, I've lost count of how many games I've been to, and yet that was the absolute loudest atmosphere that I've ever experienced watching Pakistan or any team. Any other things you wanted to kind of mention about being in the Stani Army, your memories of kind of growing up as a Pakistan fan, and generally, I know we've spoken before when we're not on air about ambitions to go and watch a game in Pakistan as well.
Mm-hmm. Just one sec. Inam's saying hopefully there's an official group. We've tried official affiliation loads of times. That's not happened because the Pakistan Cricket Board doesn't reply to you. But yeah, now we are going a different route, and we're in the process. So inshallah that will happen. Loads of memories. Probably my greatest memories, the Champions Trophy final.
Yeah.
To be there. That's right up there. The 09 final as well. But yeah, I think the Champions Trophy final is probably my cricketing highlight, to just be there and beat India the way we did. And at no point in that game did we look in danger.
After
that no ball. At no point did we ever look in danger of losing that game. In fact, so many Indians had walked out the match that when Jadeja was actually Bandia was hitting them sixes, there was more Pakistanis cheering Bandia than there was Indians. But we were like, come on, give us a contest. Absolutely incredible. A World Cup final against India and beating them will only top that particular experience as a thing. But apart from that, the 09 final, just to be there. So I've seen 2 ICC wins live, which is quite incredible.
Same here, and neither time was the name on the ticket my own name, but like you, I managed to get with other
both
people.
ways. And both times I got the ticket on the morning. Champions Trophy final, we bought it the night before, but it was with a friend, and we got it in the morning. And 09, I was outside the ground trying to pick it up in the morning. Apart from that, the other 2 biggest memories that I would always live with so far happened last year. So one was Edgbaston against New Zealand, and the other one was Headingley against Afghanistan. That is one of the very few games. That's one of the very few games as a cricket fan, and as a Stani Army member, where I had given up. Very, very few times have I ever done that. But there was a point, there's a photo in my phone somewhere, and the wig had come off. My hair was like everywhere, and I was sitting there like this. I was literally depressed. I'd given up. And then Shadab come out, and I don't know what it was. That Shadab come out, and there was this renewed thing in my head that we might do this. And I remember Nav turning around to me and said, "Imy." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "If we win this, yeah?" And he went like this, and he goes, "My hand somewhere." So there. But somewhere. He said to me, "Imy." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "It's £50 for the masjid if we win, yeah?" And I looked at Nav and I said, "Are you being serious?" And I was completely depressed at the time. Yeah. And Shadab come out, and something hit me that we're going to win this. And we started lifting the crowd again. And then after that, there was just no looking back. The players sort of seemed to perform, and we lifted, the whole stadium lifted in its own unique way. After the game, I mean, there was this lady sitting on my left. So we've got these posh seats at the top thing. We were right in front of the VIPs. So we've got these leather seats, and so we're watching the game from the top floor, watching it down, and as the game finished, I walked towards my left, and there's a lady with a pram there, and we're singing Dil Dil Pakistan, and she gave me her child. So I've got this anonymous child in my hand. I've got him on my neck, and I'm singing along, and she's taking photos of me.
Brilliant.
So basically, I've got no clue who the lady was. I wouldn't recognize her if she walked right past me right now. I wouldn't even know who the child is, but a lasting memory with him. Absolute lasting memory. Incredible.
So in terms of, obviously, just kind of finishing off soon, I guess, but in terms of the players and kind of connections or contacts that you have, what do you know about what the players make of the support they get when they come specifically to England? Does it add a bit of pressure to them? Do they like the fact that it's almost, sometimes it's like a home game?
Yeah, definitely. They look at England as a home game from the limited interactions I've had with players. I've got contact details for a few of them, but I never sort of message them out of the blue or anything. In fact, phone numbers, for example, I've got a phone number for two of them, and I've never rang them or texted them because I feel it's not my duty to be to be doing stuff like that. But yeah, just speaking to a few. It's definitely a home game. I think one of the prime examples, Misbah, 2016. I met him at the hotel. It was an arranged meeting sort of thing that if you go down there, speak to him. So I've gone to Lord's where it's supposed to happen, and Lord's never gave me access to go inside the stadium. So I've headed back to Manor Park again. And as I got back, it was just like got a phone call. You didn't go? So I did, but. Oh, no. They're at the hotel now. Go back. So I've headed back again. And so I've got to meet Misbah, Mickey Arthur, Azhar Ali, a few of them anyhow, but mostly with Misbah. And the media manager, he had to sit there with him just in case I was going to say something silly.
Right, okay.
Or it might be a bookie or something, or whatever it is. So he had to sit there. And I was just speaking to Misbah, and he was just saying how he goes, "Are you going to be there tomorrow?" And I said, "I will be." No, sorry, I won't be. I will be there on day 4, so I wasn't there that day. And he said, "I got, but other people will be." I knew Tabriz was going, Nav was going, a few others were going, so I said, "Yeah, no, there'll be a few out there." And he said, "Because we need you guys, because when we come here, we feel like we've got a home game. It doesn't happen very often. We have home games. Obviously, playing the UAE, they knew that this lack of atmosphere was always going to kill them. So, and the following day, he went and got the 100, the push-ups. So it was the day before then. And I went for day 4 that day.
Great day.
So, yeah, they definitely feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is true. I mean, I did say it earlier, but I mean, winning that game would be incredible. But for the heart, it's probably not the right one.
Well, it's funny that they mentioned about the Pakistan-India World Cup final. I don't think I've ever seen a game as
Yeah, we were all quiet at one point. We were standing there, and we were like thinking, "Nah, we can't be losing to this lot," because we had this hope of getting into the semis by then. Which never happened, but that's we done what we had to do, win every single game. We from the point we did that, and there was a point in that game we were like, no, we can't go out the World Cup losing to Afghanistan. This just can't happen.
Yeah,
and incredible turnaround.
And in terms of where we go from here, I know, as I said, you mentioned you want to be watching a game, hopefully one time in Pakistan as well. That's get the Stani Army watching a home game as well.
Yeah, definitely. The PSL 2021 has or had been penciled in. Has as in like definitely was penciled in. Had now is one of them where we have to see the situation around it and everything else. And now with the my personal thing has changed as well a little bit because my family is supposed to travel out this year and we had to cancel it, so they're traveling out next year. So I have to see it financially as well. But definitely PSL 2021 was on the horizon. If it's not 2021, 2022 is definite. And in all my life, this might shock some people, but I've never seen Pakistan play live in Pakistan. So that just has to happen. I have to see it on the motherland. I have to see Pakistan play a game in the motherland. It just It has to happen. And the other thing, the Pakistan motherland used to see how we lift the stadium as well. They see it in snippets. They need to see it properly now. How we lift it. That we come out for every single game without a voice, but it has to happen.
It's worth it, isn't it? Look, really interesting, obviously, to hear about your experiences and obviously growing up as a Pakistan fan and how it's changed as time goes on. In terms of the channel, I know we've got shows coming up. We'll probably preview the Zimbabwe series that starts on October 30th. We've got the National T20 Cup that starts in a few days' time, so I'm sure we'll come up with something during that as well, talking about how it's all going. So I guess to everyone watching, whether you follow the Stani Army or Imy on Twitter or not, follow, join up, sign up, DM, and if anyone who wants to kind of come on and talk about their experiences and get on board is more than welcome. We need numbers. I think the key, from my point of view anyway, the key thing is if we can get as many numbers as we can to be as big as some of the other fan groups there. That's what's going to give us the presence and the ability to negotiate with ticketing companies and all that kind of stuff to have more tickets for Pakistan fans. There's too many games, unfortunately, still where we go where we're outnumbered by India fans or sometimes even other countries as well. And that's the whole aim of this, is that doesn't happen. So join up, sign up, and stay tuned for more info, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, with National T20 Cup, we probably won't cover it every day, but every couple of days we'll come on and we'll have it and a quick see, especially with tournaments like that. We want to see people performing because we want to see them eventually come into the national team and perform for the national team. I mean, for me, it doesn't matter who the player is. I've got preferences on players, but whoever walks onto that on that field, they got my full backing. So that'll always remain. Yeah, you're right. We need people's support, and there's going to be a lot coming soon. A lot of big news coming soon as well. But we can't get there without basically everyone else supporting us. It's not just about us, as I said earlier. It's about the future generations. Yeah, let's make it easier for them. We can't let them stay behind. I mean, like, for example, let's and just to sum it up as we're going to end, it's the Pakistan Cricket Board was stagnated for a long period, didn't do anything, and you saw how India, for example, and BCCI elevated India's game. We can't allow the same thing to happen with fans now. We need the future generations to be secure, and that's where we're trying to move forward with.
Yeah, well said, Imy. Look, pleasure to chat on air, off air, as always, and I think that just about wraps it up for today's show. So thanks to everyone for watching, and as always, we'll finish with a Pakistan
Zindabad.